Our virtual tour of food deserts begins here at Johns Hopkins University on St. Paul and 33rd. Many of you are probably familiar with this area in some way. As you can see, there's a lot of food options located here. There are Subways, Cold Stones, Starbucks, Chipotle, Pizza Studio, Potbellies, among others. Some of these, such as Starbucks and Cold Stone, could be labeled as luxury food items. Also note the loft-style apartments located here. Here we have a grocery store filled with healthy options, but notice the lack of street parking here on St. Paul Street. We have more healthy food options here. Also more luxury foods such as sushi, and this liquor store that advertises a lot of different craft beers. Now we're moving into the Charles Village neighborhood, a very nice residential area full of historic homes, churches, plenty of gardens, art, nice schools. Now we're at Safeway, which has a large parking lot and most people in the area shop here. It's a lot more accessible than the other grocery store. As we get closer to North Avenue, notice how the businesses start to change. Here's one of the many urban farms in the city. It's inactive at the moment, but it hosts many events to the community, and those who work at the farm get 50% of the harvest while the community gets the other half. We're getting closer to the officially designated food desert now, and you'll notice how things continue to change. There begin to be closed businesses, abandoned homes, a shift in demographics from the previous area. The video now jumps around the corner at Green Mountain North Avenue, heading north on Greenmount. We are technically in a food desert now. Although we are only a few blocks from where we started, it seems like we could be in another world. As we continue to go through this neighborhood, notice how different the businesses are from Charles Village. There are still places called groceries and delis and so on, but they appear very differently. Notice even how different the churches look. You'll briefly see a park where people are out enjoying the weather, playing with their families, living their lives here. This is during the protests of Freddie Gray's death, but you'll notice how everything is peaceful and people are just out having a good time. This is definitely not Safeway. No sign of craft beers here. You can hardly see, but people are in the shopping center parking lot here singing worship songs. Everyone loves McDonald's, except apparently the people in Charles Village, since there is not one there. Or a KFC. We're entering the Waverly neighborhood now, which is technically not in a food desert, but notice still how it is very different than the Charles Village area, although it does kind of take the same role as the place we started near Johns Hopkins. Although they don't accept food stamps in Charles Village, I don't think. Or at least they don't advertise it, that is. They also probably don't shop at Goodwill or discount stores. Ever wonder where the rest of the chicken you don't have to eat goes? Get your liver and gizzards here. We're rounding the corner back onto 33rd Street to loop back to where we started, and you'll begin to see things once again return to the state at which we began. As we're finishing up, try and think about the reasons that this dichotomy exists and why these people live in such different ways even though they're so close together. As you can see, it's a beautiful day back here in Charles Village, outside Union Memorial Hospital, and coming back up on Johns Hopkins campus. Thanks for taking a little walk with me. Hopefully you were exposed to some things you haven't seen before, and maybe will be a bit more interested in them and will explore them yourselves. I'm not claiming to have any answers here, but I'm just asking you to take a look at yourself in relation to the world and how everything is connected. Have a nice day.
When we think of the Cherry Hill community, which is the one I'm most familiar with, but I am familiar with some of the statistics from around the city. The neighborhood of Cherry Hill has some of the highest health, some of the worst health outcomes in the city in terms of HIV, drugs, unemployment. There's high rates of infant mortality and heart disease and smoking and diabetes. And so what happens is that, you know, the poverty is one thing, and then you layer on top of that geographic isolation. You layer on top of that, there's not been a stable grocery store in the neighborhood for many years. And then if there's not much industry in the community, there are no jobs, and it becomes very, very challenging for the people who live there to stay as healthy as I know some of the people would like to be. See what the real issues are so that you can know by your own experience, not by something that you've read in a chart or in a book, because all of a sudden then the people aren't just the people who live in that food desert, but then they're people whom you know, who you have a relationship with. That with anything related to public health, and keep being a champion for these issues, because the people who live in the community, so they can speak for themselves, they need lots of people's help to maintain the awareness, because it's easy, I think, for a lot of us to grow weary. Oh no, that issue again, that issue again. Keep being a champion, and months and years are going to go by in your career, and it will really mean something to you.